Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So for part four, the first thing I wanted to go over before we start was the blue white match. Is in the last video, people on Twitter pointed out that we actually punted this turn against sacrifice. At the beginning of the this turn, I mentioned that the main two branches are do we
Daniel, you are not actually sharing your screen in Discord if
okay
you currently have that.
um okay so yeah, at the start of the turn, I said like the two options is do you attack first or do you do something first? And then we started by talking about all the options about if we do something first, but then it took so long that I forgot to say what if we attack first. And if we attack first, it seems clearly better because here's what would happen if we attack first. Um, so we would attack. They would uh, sacrifice the hearse. One second, I wrote this down. I'll just grab it.
I mean, you don't even fully have to go through it. Like, your impulses are better positioned. If they start moving first, then you get to act with the first food trigger on the stack. They're just getting less value from their ovens. They're getting less stack triggers. It's like clearly
Yeah,
very good
let's.
for you.
It only takes like 20 seconds to go through the turn. It's clean. So you attack. They sacrifice hearse. Response to them sacrificing hearse, you prismari the other oven. Then they sacrifice devil. Then you impulse the other devil. And this way, and they have that's all forced by them. They can't really do anything else. If they do anything else, it's better for you. That's like the most optimal place for them. And source, trust me, bro. And then if that happens, what's gonna happen if the aftermath is our life is like 13. They lost an oven. Their whole board is dead. We have our second impulse because they sacked one to the devil. It's way better. So yeah, attacking first was way better. Okay, now that we gone through that, we can go to the next games. Do you have anything you want to say?
About that game? No, no. That all checks out.
1 second. I think I have it like too like badly centered on my screen. Okay, 1 second. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can. I realized from watching my own videos, it was like messed up how my screen share was on. 1 second. Okay, I don't know. I'll just do it like this, I guess. Okay, so my opponent was on blue white control. I knew this because reasons, and they chose to put me on the play, and they had Yorion. Pretty easy keep here. I don't know why I keep saying easy keep, but there we go. I opted main phase in case I draw sleight of hand, I guess. I don't know. Doesn't seem
Makes sense.
like worth talking about too much. C pieces, yeah. I decided to opt here. I don't know. I decided to keep this
Yeah, I
land,
would
I'm pretty
definitely
sure.
opt for lands. Yes.
Yep. And I chose, I think, not to cast a pieces here because they could have Jwari or Sensor.
Wait, actually, Daniel, we should maybe pull up this person's list because you could have goldfished them prior to the event, and there's a lot of specifics of blue white that matter. Like, they have moonlights, do they have sensors? The details of their list matter a lot, so that can be
Okay, I
relevant.
can mention this aspect. My opponent seemed to have four spell pierces in their list. Let me see. I'll try and pull up a list on my phone quickly. MTG Goldfish. They had so they my opponent had three Hollowed Moonlight main and four Spell Pierce main for some reason. VFS MTGO. I'm trying to see if they had any sensors. Let me see. This was 127, so it would have been.
Yeah, sensor is like one of the big cards where I don't know, like half the lists have it maybe or
Yeah,
something,
my opponent
and
had like three sensor in their last list. Um, so they had like three sensor, and they had no absorbs. They just had four Dovin's veto. So yeah, that was some of their list knowledge. Okay. So yeah, I just chose not to play pieces because I didn't really feel like in a rush. I mean, the only thing they could cast is Omen of the Sea. I mean, I guess like you could cast pieces. I don't know. Like, let me think for a second. I just thought that there's a lot of situations where if they don't have Omen of the Sea, they can't do anything this turn, and then I can just like cast Arclight on turn 4, and then turn 5 I can potentially play pieces and they can't pierce me, and then they need like to use they have to trade Dovin's Veto as pieces and they can't trade any soft counters.
I strongly disagree with that. I think that's kind of a punt. They have like 4 vetoes in their list, right? I just want to play it now. Like this is the best it's gonna get, and there's no guarantee you hit your 5th land drop. So I just want to jam.
They have like 7 soft counters in their deck.
Yeah, but you're not. I don't know. You're like not developing at all if you're just sitting there.
Well, are they developing at all?
They have Omen still. Like if they Omen, it's quite bad for you.
Is it bad for me? I mean, the only thing they can do is cast Omen, and Omen's just like a preordained.
Which sets them.
Also, the veto's just like gonna be good. They only have 4 vetoes in their entire deck. If the games go long, like if the only counterspell they can use on pieces is veto, then they can't veto my cruise. They can't veto my time walk. If they have to trade, I don't know. I mean, you could do it, but they have 7. They're more likely to have a soft counter than an Omen, and you can also. I mean, it's always contextual. It's not like this game. I was on the play. I had my land drops, but also I had like 2 lightning axes in my hand that were pretty bad, and hardcasting the Arclight's pretty bad. And once and it's also like not easy for them to have double veto for 2 pieces in their 80 card deck, and I'm pretty likely to draw like a treasure cruise, and then like that was kind of what I was thinking. Like I feel pretty comfortable not casting pieces here.
I don't know. There's also like it's not like you fully get out of range once you get to 5. First of all, once you get to 5, they've gotten a number of looks at the veto, especially if they have Omen. Second of all, they can just like multi-spell pierce it, or they can go Shark on 3 into. Oh, they don't play the make disappear.
Well, even if they play make disappear, you could kill the Shark first. Well, if they, like I'm saying, if they veto it, what I'm trying to say is they only have 4 vetoes in their 80 card deck, and the game's probably going to go long. So if they have to trade veto as pieces, it's very different than trading spell pierce. They have only 4 vetoes they get to cast in the whole game. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not super confident, I guess, in how to play games against Blue White, but I would definitely have played it in this spot.
I feel like I'm more likely to resolve a pieces by not casting it this turn, because if I cast it this turn, then I feel they're more likely to have 1 veto and 1 soft counter than having 2 vetoes, because if I cast it this turn, they can soft counter the first, veto the second. Whereas if I don't play into a soft counter, then they have to have 2 Dovin's vetoes, and they're way less likely to have 2 Dovin's vetoes. Also, on top of that, if the game goes really long, they can't use a soft counter on a treasure cruise, but Dovin's veto is a premium card. Those were all the reasons why I didn't cast it, but could be wrong.
If you had a 5th land, I'd be more amenable to your position, I guess, but.
Yeah, and also it's worth noting, also on top of that, if they don't have Omen of the Sea, which maybe they're likely to have because they played Field of Ruin, I don't know. But if they don't have it, they're doing literally nothing. I guess they could cycle Shark for 0. So
you are also literally doing nothing. You're not benefiting from that.
Well, but I am doing something. I'm not letting them cast their Spell Piercer Censor. And also the fact that if we both do nothing, then it's fine if you're not playing into certain things. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not like... What I'm trying to say by they can't do anything is like... It's not like I'm falling behind this turn because I'm not casting a spell because they're also doing nothing.
Like yes, but you're also not benefiting. So it's like...
Yeah, I am.
It's even.
Well, what I'm trying to say is sometimes if you don't cast anything, you fall behind. But if you're in a spot where your opponent can't cast anything, then you're not really falling behind by doing nothing. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, it's not like they could cast like unexpected windfall.
their spell pieces aren't going to be dead, right? Their spell pieces are always going to have a target later in the game. Like you're not going to be able to play around spell pierce forever. So you're not. They
Um,
started this game up a card, and you're just saying like I want to prolong this game and not develop. That doesn't feel very good to me.
well, there's a difference, but yeah, if they can't spell pierce my pieces, then I'll be able to enter a state where I can draw my deck, and their spell pierce will be pretty weak. I mean, I think their spell if I versus if I let them spell pierce my pieces, my deck could just fizzle off and I do nothing. Also, the concept of what I meant by them doing nothing to develop is there are situations where you have the ability to cast a spell, and if you don't your opponent could play a flash creature like Malcolm or
I mean,
Nightpack
punish
Ambusher.
all the punish to all of what you're describing is to ferry. Like if you slow the game down by trying to dodge their stuff, and then they have to ferry, it's pretty rough for you. Like right?
Well, that's not what I'm talking about. A very simple concept that like there's some turns where you can cast a spell or not, and there are some situations where if you don't cast a spell, your opponent can play a threat like Nightpack Ambusher or Malcolm, the Flash looter. If you're in a situation where if you don't do anything, your opponent also can't do anything except for maybe cast Omen of the Sea, then you're not really falling behind by casting pieces. It's not like I'm playing against like spirits, for example,
Correct.
and by not
You're
casting
trading,
pieces, they're gonna play a creature now. That's what I'm saying.
Daniel. You're trading your mana for their mana. That's all that's happening,
Well, what I'm
right?
saying is a very specific concept that there's some situations where you're forced to play a spell because if you don't, you fall behind. There's a situation where if you don't play your pieces, you're not falling behind. Like you're not what I'm saying is you're not forced to play your. There's a lot of you're not forced to play your pieces because of that. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, you are trading your mana for their mana, and the game is becoming slower because of that fact.
Kind of. I mean, you could say it's becoming slower, but it could also be becoming faster because if I play into a self counter, then they could counter my pieces and my deck won't function. Whereas if I hold my pieces, they can't counter it because it's hard for them to have two Dovin's Veto in their 80 card deck. And then because they can't counter my pieces on turn 3, I got to win more quickly because I'm not just going to fizzle off and do nothing. And also, like I was saying, like it's even if they have two Dovin's Veto for both my pieces, then it's hard for them to have a Dovin's Veto for my Treasure Cruise down the line. Whereas if I play the soft counters, they can use Dovin's Veto on that stuff. I do think you can make the Spell Pierces pretty dead, especially if you're on the play. I don't know. I mean, I feel pretty good about not playing pieces there. I guess to summarize, my viewpoint is that if I play pieces there, you're letting them more easily counter both your pieces, and from that point, your deck won't function. And I feel like if you try and make it so they have to veto the pieces, it's hard for them to have two vetoes. And on top of that, the soft counter veto is a premium card, and trading with veto is pretty good because it's the only counter in their deck that's a hard counter. But I mean, I don't know. It's could be complicated, I guess. Troll. I don't know if you. So I don't know. I think it's a close spot, but that's why I feel good about not doing anything. I don't know if you find that satisfying.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I disagree, but we probably, I don't think we can really resolve that. Um, yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying.
I mean, I think it's close, but yeah, since few people understand the whitelist, I could have played Ledger first, but I think I just cast pieces.
Why did we not pre-combat this?
I don't really know. Oh, I think it was.
Keeping
I did it because that way, if they like do something pre-combat, if they tap out like Shark for 2, I can play Ledger and then pieces. And I was like, if my pieces resolves, I'm happy anyway.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So here it's obviously awkward. I did like here I have to pay a bit of a cost for playing around the counters because I can't connive, but I thought it's worth it. I think I chose to play Shredder here because they don't really have an easy removal like for Shredder. I mean, I guess they could have like
No, in this position, I think it's like 100% correct to play the pieces first. Once you've got to this
yeah.
point.
The reason I play the Shredder is it's not easy for them to remove it. Their only way they would have to like if they lock down, they don't have for veto. If they like, do you know what I mean? Like it just so yeah. So here I almost thought about playing Shredder first. I don't know what I do. I guess I pre-combat this.
I don't think that's good. You're just like overextending into a supreme verdict at that point. That doesn't seem. Oh, I don't. Wait. I don't know how I feel about this. I'm not a big fan of this, I guess.
Yeah, I could have held the second one.
I would have probably considered there.
Yeah, it seems fine to
Be-
consider. I'm
that
gonna see
way,
how many verdicts they have.
that way they can't wandering emperor your, or yeah, they can't like march. Or they don't play march. This is a weird list. I keep thinking of like stock lists, but they can't wandering emperor your phoenix, and they
Yeah, I
can't
think
verdict
that
you therefore.
playing the second shredder doesn't seem very good here. Yeah, because they have 4 supreme verdicts, and my hand was so
Yeah,
bad. Like I have so much to connive. So I think I should
right.
have just cast consider. I don't really know why I played shredder, to be honest. But yeah, okay. So, oh, I think no, yeah, no. I think actually I remember why I played it. The reason why I played it was because I thought they were gonna memory deluge, and I was like, they don't have a second white source, and if they demolition field me, they're not deluging. And I'm like, if they verdict, for some reason I was like, oh, if they verdict, they're like so far behind. Well, because here's the thing, like if they verdict, they're at 9 life, right? So if they go like demolition field verdict, they're at 9 life, and I have a time walk. So if I find any phoenix, they die. Like they're dead to so much stuff. So that's basically why I did that. But I could see it being wrong. But do you see what I mean?
No, I lost you there. Sorry, say it again.
Okay, because the thing was, if they supreme verdict, they're at nine
Yes.
life, right?
Yeah,
So I have time walk in hand. So I'm pretty likely to kill them if they tap out for a supreme verdict. I also thought that they
I
could
see.
cast memory deluge on the end step, and they don't have a second white yet. So
Yeah, or maybe with the trespass in hand, maybe it's better than I thought.
I
Hmm.
mean, looking
I could
back,
see
I
that.
would probably not do it because I have so many bad cards in my hand. So I would kind of want to save it. But that was basically
Right.
what I was thinking. For I thought they really had memory deluge. They wanted to cast, and
And also, yeah, I guess like lockdown is another punish too. So yeah, I wouldn't. I think not playing it is probably good.
so I cast time
Why
walk
did
here
we? Why did we play this land?
because of spell pierce.
You
What
could
do
have
you
just
mean?
paid. You could have just paid one more mana. You could have just exiled one more card. I wanted to keep the land in hand to potentially discard to Prismari command. That's what I wanted to
Well,
do.
I felt like we already had 2 bad cards I could discard.
But there's Shark
And
Typhoon, and they have like this on-board thing. So I think having one removal in your hand is pretty useful potentially.
well, I just
I'd
didn't
rather
think I
discard.
wanted to discard a land. Like I would rather just discard what the worst spell in my hand. But maybe also if I draw Treasure Cruise, then and I delve way too many cards, then I can't Treasure
Yeah, I
Cruise
mean, there's
anymore.
definitely benefits to it. I don't want to discard. I actively don't want to discard 2 removal spells. There's Shark. There's the onboard manland. More importantly, there's Wandering Emperor.
Well,
Wandering
I would
Emperor is
try and
probably the
keep an
biggest reason.
impulse, but I thought I would rather discard the worst card that I would Prismari into in the top like
Oh, I see.
five. I
Yeah.
gotta choose out of
Okay.
5 cards. Um,
That might
but
be fine. Yeah.
I don't know. It could be wrong, but I don't want to. I don't think it's worth talking about that too much. Probably.
Okay.
Uh, it looks weird, but I just played Ledger and Past here because I like thought through what they could do, and
I like that. Yeah.
yeah, because
Because Prismari command plus Ledger Shredder is lethal. So it's like, what are they gonna do here?
yeah, I guess they could have had like Supreme Verdict plus Hollowed Moonlight. Um,
Yeah.
but
But that
I was just like, yeah,
beats.
this way I have 2 creatures, and like I could have like main phased this, but it wasn't really that good. I would need to find like an untapped land. I don't know. So they played Teferi. They minus. Well, this was kind of a close choice, I guess, what I could do here, but I chose to impulse to do this.
What's the alternative? Why is it? That's what I would have done as well.
I mean, I could let it go on top and then try and draw into it to cast it or something. I don't know.
Um, it seems better to me, I guess.
Yeah, now I shock them and loot, and they scoop. Okay, next game. So yeah, there's some tough decisions there, I guess. control low.
Yeah, I mean, probably like literally the most interesting part of that game is whether you play the pieces on 3, right?
Yeah. Notice I side into 61 cards. If you want exclusive tips like that, buy my sideboard guide. I guess I can see how much. Yeah, so my opponent, they had no rest in peace in their list. And they had 3 hollowed moonlights. So normally I side out time walk against blue white control, but since I didn't have rest in peace, I left it in. So
not boarding in Max Drake, especially if your opponent is going to put you on the play, seems a bit criminal to me.
Well, I never even thought Drake was really that good against blue white. I just thought it was you had to side it in because they had rest in peace, so my opponent doesn't.
I guess, yeah, the games are very different without rest in peace. But like Hallowed Moonlight is kind of a similar thing, you know, where your phoenixes get exiled.
Yeah,
so
but I get a fork time walk against them, and I still have 2 Drakes in my deck. But
yeah, that's fine. Okay,
you could maybe do it. I mean, if you're bringing in time walks, you have to cut different stuff, right? So
yeah. So what did you cut? You cut fiery impulses and what?
1 lightning axe, 1 Prismari. I play a Prismari main, so 1 Prismari, 4 impulse, 1 axe. That was 6 cards.
Okay, that seems reasonable. I don't want to go lower on axes, so then like it's not clear what you would cut.
Exactly.
I mean, you could
and
maybe
Drake doesn't even seem like that good against them.
You could cut 1 phoenix for the Cryphon Drake.
Yeah.
Moonlight.
Also, worth noting, my opponent had 4 mystical disputes, which is higher than normal for Drake. I think people usually play like 2 or 3. That made Drake a bit worse. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I chose to play Ledger here, I guess. What are my other options? Yeah, I just played Ledger here because it's hard for them to kill it. I mean, I could have played Jwari tapped. They try and like Ledger next turn, but then they could counter it. So I just wanted to play it when they didn't have a counter spell up.
This seems good to me. That's what I would do.
And there's a lot of upsides to like doing it here. Like, I mean, drawing Phoenix is one of them. But I was gonna say like drawing a second Shredder, drawing untapped land. There's like no real reason to opt here, but I just did it because I don't know. So I see Drake. I bottom it because I don't know. I wanted to try and get Phoenix back, and I did. I took opt over time walk there because I'm pretty far from time walking. And yeah, this game I remember was pretty quickly. My opponent's plan to choose the draw kind of didn't work that well. I mean, I don't know if there's much to say, but I obviously didn't jam pieces here, but I did play a consider main phase. I don't know if there's anything.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Then I opt in response to their dispute. I don't know, maybe I draw 2 disputes. I see other pieces. I take it. I think I discarded the axe instead of the time walk, which could have been bad, but I think I already bottomed the time walk, and I had all these pieces, so I don't know. The time walk seemed good.
You're very close to it. Yeah, I agree with all of this.
Then I just jammed to pieces pre-combat, which could be wrong, but I don't know, it seemed fine. Like, if you have Spell Pierce, it's better. Like, I don't have...
The benefit of this is, like, if they have Wandering Emperor, you can hit removal and save your Phoenix.
Yeah, exactly. And if you have Spell Pierce in your deck or whatever, then you could Spell Pierce the Wandering Emperor. Also, I could technically get more Phoenixes back if I if I hit cantrips. Like if I milled a Phoenix, I could have potentially tried So I take this stuff.
Okay, so now in this position, I mean, this is actually kind of interesting. Like, do you attack here at all? Maybe you don't attack at all.
Well, I think I did because their life was so low, but let's see first. Like, I need it before I attack. I'm considering first, so I discard the fork because I thought I'd rather have the lands.
What? I thought we were gonna. I mean, that I wouldn't have discarded fork. I probably would have kept fork and not attacked here. Maybe that might have been my line. I'm still thinking though.
Well, if they Wandering Emperor, is it even good? If they Wandering Emperor, is it even good for them?
Yeah. Well, the Wandering Emperor and then like do something else on their turn. Like if they have removal, if they remove both your things, then suddenly your trespass is getting much less value, right? Like if you just don't give them the opportunity to Emperor this turn, next turn you go Gallop Trespass. How can they win?
Well, first of all, Why do you want fork over a land? Do you want to flashback the fork later? Otherwise, I'd miss a land drop. Also, one of the lands I was taking was
Yes,
Odawara.
I want to. Yeah, because you also have these pieces in hand, so I wanna flashback the pieces.
Yeah, but then I have to
Later.
miss my lands. I mean, yeah, you could have maybe kept the fork. Also, it's worth noting this could be translate to more damage with the shredder, but yeah, you could maybe keep the fork. I thought it was close. I also thought since one of the lands was an Odawara can be useful, and I didn't want to discard Odawara / play it. Also worth noting they have Field of Ruin, so they can start like hitting my red sources. Okay, so yeah. I mean, part of attacking here is it forces them to Wandering Emperor. It means I'm not allowed to Memory Deluge. For example, this turn, they didn't counterspell anything. I'm just, like, is it... I'm thinking... Also, they could, like, untap and, like, Verdict. Or they could just, like... They could, like, cast, like, a spot removal spell end of turn and then untap and cast another spot removal and I got no damage in.
Verdict doesn't work. The game is just, like, over if they Verdict, right? You're gonna take 2 turns.
Well, they could have Verdict Dispute.
Oh, they could counter one of the turns.
Also, I don't even get a... Yeah, I was thinking... I'm just looking at this. I mean, I remember I was thinking that if they, like, cast, like... If I don't attack and then end of turn, they can go, like... Oh, Get Lost, Ledger, Shredder, Omen of the Sea. It could be annoying. Like, basically any spot removal spell or, like, Odawara, Ledger. Like, basically... If I don't force them to Emperor, they can cast, like, any spot removal spell. They can also, like, Shark Typhoon for 2. They can Memory Deluge. But, like, I was like, even if they Wandering Emperor, I don't know if it's that bad for me. Like, so they Wandering Emperor.
No, no, it's not catastrophic for you or anything. Like, you're pretty fine with Emperor. Yeah. Maybe.
I'm just trying to think. So, like, let's say they Emperor, they take my Ledger Shredder out. Then...
Right. Oh, yeah. They wouldn't even take out the Phoenix at this point. Yeah, they'd kill Shredder. Yeah.
Most likely.
Well, unless they have like a Get Lost or something. Also.
Yeah, but I mean, like, a decent chance though. I mean, we could say Arclight, and I have Shredder in play, but yeah. And then we get I mean, you could make I could see not attacking. Like, I think it's close. I was just worried. I just liked that I was forcing them to have to Emperor here. But I could see being wrong. Like, I was just like randomly thinking, you know, what if they play like a non-Emperor spell and then I look dumb for not attacking and it like gives them a way back in the game. But I could. It's kind of like tricky. I don't know. Would they have countered anything I played this turn? I guess not. Well, they didn't counter pieces. Okay.
I mean, I think a big reason you wouldn't counter pieces is because you have this Emperor that you're like, okay, I need to play this Emperor, you know?
Yeah, I could see not attacking. Like, it seems kind of better to not attack. I just remember I was like, oh, what if it's randomly a disaster if they have, like, Get Lost and whatever. But obviously they didn't Get Lost before, but that was just what I was thinking. That's why I attacked. Also, I was kind of tired at this point, you know what I mean? I didn't want to, like, tank that deep. Obviously, they have nothing. So, yeah, but...
Yeah, never punished.
Well, I'll be punished next round. Believe me, all the haters will really like what happens next round. Okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, I would say, like, some disclaimer. Like, when you play against Blue-White, a lot of time you have to be able to play really fast. It's definitely a hard matchup. Obviously, they haven't had a lot of time.
The same event with Lethal on board.
Yeah, you timed out the previous turn because you're trying to Giga Brain everything. But yeah. Also, like, you can get tired. Like, maintaining mental energy, like, can be useful. Like, not trying to overthink on some spots. But
yeah, especially with a deck like Phoenix. Yeah, you just have to make decisions. I mean, like, maybe I would have attacked in game for that reason. I don't know.
Yeah. I knew my opponent was playing BTL Yorion, and I'm pretty sure, because he was in a Discord I was in, and I saw him post a deck list that had, like, 4 Dovin Veto, 3 Make Disappear. So it was, like, Bring to Light Yorion, which is, like, the Omnath Fable deck. But he randomly just had a bunch of counter spells, because he was saying counter spells are good. So, but he also didn't have...
Discord, or what is this?
In the Sewer Rat Discord.
Oh, I see. Okay.
and which is a popular sewer rat deck, is Bring to Light Yorion. And he had no Slaughter Games main, and I'm pretty sure like no Graveyard Hate. Just like, Elish Nor and Valky, whatever. Okay, I held Jwari here, just because...
Jwari is, like, really valuable against them, right? This seems reasonable to me, yeah.
Yeah, because, like, let's say I consider, and I see, like, and I draw, like, lands, I could potentially Jwari, like, Sylvan Caryatid, turn 3 pieces or whatever. I just wasn't really...
You can still play Jwari if your consider doesn't hit a land, then you probably still just play the Jwari.
Yeah. I don't know exactly...
Wait, we didn't...
Oh, I remember.
Not consider?
Because he had like 4 Dovin's Veto in his list, so I thought that if he passes, I can Galvanic Consider. So that's why I did that, which could be wrong, because I guess if he plays a 2-drop, I can't Jwari it. But
I don't understand this at all.
Well, he had 7 counter spells in his deck.
I really wanted to consider on turn 1, so that we have better, like, we can hit a land, and then we don't have to play the Jwari. Or if we don't hit the land, then we'll play the Jwari, but like at least we made an informed decision there.
Well, the reason why I didn't do it is because he had 4 Dovin's Veto and 3 Make Disappears, so I realized it might not be good for me to play pieces on turn 3, and I can fork my Consider, which is a pretty powerful play. And I also felt that the matchup is pretty lopsided for us. Like, we're kind of playing Dredge, and they don't really have good tools to interact with it. So I felt like I don't want to give him a way to blow me out by just countering my pieces. I don't know.
I mean, you don't have to play the pieces on turn 3 still, right? That's the other thing. Is you can just, like, consider into more cantrips or something. Like, yeah, if he leaves up Dovin's Veto on turn 2, then you won't play pieces.
Well, then I have to draw. Then I have to draw a cantrip. If I don't, if I don't draw anything to fork, then I can be screwed. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of close, but that was just what I was thinking. Take 2 cantrips. Like, I was basically just thinking that, like, he doesn't have good tools to interact with me, so I just wanted to put more effort into making my engine work smoothly and care less about what he's doing, and just more make sure that I'm not going to fizzle, because he didn't really have Graveyard Hate game 1. But, yeah, I could see that being wrong, like, for sure. This game gets kind of messy. Oh, okay, I was going kind of fast. Well, yeah, I guess it's pretty obvious to, like, it's like... to cantrip here, and like I don't want to fork because I have Time Walk necessarily. Well, it gets tricky in a second. Okay, because so he had 4 Leyline Bindings in his deck. So I was thinking about, do I not want to return Phoenix so I can have a removal spell up for it? So maybe I should have done that, to be honest.
You don't want to play Otawara?
Yeah, I think I should have played Otawara looking back. Looking back, I should have just played Otawara. I was, like, playing kind of loose. Like, I play kind of loose this game. Yeah, I think the best line was just play Otawara, and, like, I was just thinking, oh, I want to fork Time Walk as soon as possible, but obviously I don't really need a fork.
Well, I'm not sure it's so... Because, like, yeah, if you play Otawara, then you don't have guaranteed Galv Trespass on turn 5, right?
Yeah, but I think, like, also with Galv Trespass, it kind of gets better the later in the game, so that's, like, another reason to hold it. You know,
sure,
right?
It's fine to hold it. Yeah. I guess if he has no
Slaughter games.
Effect, then you can just keep holding.
So, but even if he does have an extraction effect, he would just cast it next turn anyway. He has 5 mana next turn. So yeah, this was like I should have probably just played Otawara. I was thinking about like not even getting it back and just like passing. Like one of my potential lines was play Spire Bluff to pass, but then if I fork Time Walk, I don't even have Phoenix back. So yeah, since my opponent had Growth Spiral too, so that was part of the reason I didn't get Leyline. So now they play Omnass, and they get like Valky, I think. Oh, fuck. Okay.
What did they exile? Can you show us the exile zones?
Another Bring to Light and a Consider, I think. Okay, so this turn was kind of difficult because so I have fork Time Walk, but if I fork Time Walk, then I don't have any follow-up at all. So I think I forked Treasure Cruise.
My opinion is you gotta go for it and hope to hit something, probably.
Well, the thing is, by looking at their deck, they don't have a lot of ways to like interact with Time Walk fork. So I felt that...
Yes. Like, they have this Valky going, right? Which is going to be...
Kind of, but I can like, they don't really have a. Kind of, but I was thinking if I find a Phoenix and a red land, I can like lightning axe the Omnath, like attack Valky, and then like if they try and exile my Phoenix, I can use a burn spell on it. I mean, I don't know, and I have like Odawara to bounce the Valky.
Find both a red land and a Phoenix, then it's good, but like it's pretty.
Well,
easy
I see 6 cards. I'm 4K if I 4 Cruise.
Okay, well we can pull out the Hyperdor Geometric. I don't know. It feels like less than 50%, probably somewhere close to like 50%, maybe less, probably less.
Well, I thought I can just Odawara the Valky. Like my hand, like I gotta draw and use 6 cards, so I was like, I can like.
Wait, no, that's not true. You can't Odawara the Valky if you're going.
Next turn, the turn after.
I see.
I thought I could ignore, like, let them Valky for a turn. I was thinking I can ignore the Valky, let them Valky for a turn. Then the turn after, I can Odawara, bounce the Valky. That was my thinking. Like, what, like, okay, I guess we'll say, like, what are my options here? Like, I can Treasure Cruise without forking it.
Hope to draw well from that point. Like, it's kind of a sucky spot. Yeah,
I feel like we're not in a bad spot if we do this, because we're literally drawing 6 cards. It's pretty similar value to them bring to light their Valky.
Yeah, it's probably because like it's kind of easy to miss with this, but it's also pretty easy to miss with the Trespass. Yeah, I don't mind this.
And
I guess
look at that, my under 50% odds come together. Also,
I don't actually know what it is, but like it feels. I mean, what number would you put on it? I guess if you had to put a number on it.
I mean, it's a decent chance because I haven't drawn a Steam Vents, right? I'm like halfway through my deck. I haven't drawn a Steam Vents, and I also played 1 River Glide.
10 lands, right? No, wait, it's less than 10 lands because it's 8 lands you can draw.
7, I'm pretty sure. 3 River Glides, 4 Steam Vents.
Yeah.
7, and I have, but I'm like, I have like. It's in the top. Like I've already gone through 20 cards, and I have 3 Phoenixes in my deck. I don't know. Also, it is worth noting that if my opponent also had Chain to the Rocks for some, like, I went to Chain to the Rocks, so it is worth noting that if they like try and exile it and I kill it, they can like just exile it again. Or no, I guess they can't. Chain to the Rocks is a sorcery. Yeah, that was part of why this line was good. Also, yeah, I felt like I could just try and ignore the Valky for a turn.
Pretty unlikely. Because it's like about 70% to hit the land, and about 40% to hit the Phoenix. So it's like 30% total, roughly. So it's pretty unlikely. Well, I mean, it's not super likely.
Well, 30% is not too bad.
Yeah, but probably your
did you make sure you're inputting the right amount of cards in the deck?
Yeah, no, your fizzle rate if you just trespass here is like probably comparable or even worse, and also you've like wasted your trespass. Even if you miss this turn, you can Otawara, as you said, and then like draw pieces and set up down the line, and hopefully trespass combo eventually.
Yeah, like their deck is pretty bad at stopping the time walk combo. They have all these counter spells, so we just need to try and like. I just thought I could, take the luxury to ignore the Tibalt. I was just thinking, like, I can ignore the Tibalt for now. Like, their only, like, way to stop our late game is all these counter spells, but I'm like, I can bounce the Tibalt and just let them get some +1 value. So they hit a Make Disappear now off the Tibalt.
Right. I completely forgot they have counter spells in their deck. That's a reason to trespass this turn, right? Yeah, that's...
Well, they only have 4 cards in hand. Like, I thought I could just... I mean, obviously they have the Tibalt plus. I thought I can just ignore the Tibalt. Like, I thought it's easier to ignore the Tibalt. Because once they bounce the Tibalt, then they can try and pass with counter spells, but it's not, like, great for them. Because then I can just return Phoenixes and have all these burn spells. Like, what... Like, our late game's stronger than their late game, kind of. If that... Yeah. Well... I don't know. Well, we can just start here. I mean, this turn also is kind of hard, I guess. I don't know. Oh, I think I just decided to sleight of hand looking for a land, and Otawara their Tibalt was my plan, if I recall correctly.
That seems reasonable. I guess it's like pretty punishing if you miss on the land, right? But you do really need to make land drops. Yeah, I agree with that. That's what I would do, I think.
Well, let's see the other options. Like, I don't really want to cast.
Well, other options are like just ignore Tibalt for this turn. You could ignore Tibalt this turn potentially.
Well, like if I miss on the land, then I could cast pieces. You know, if I
Yeah,
wanted to.
that's what I'm saying. You don't have to. It's like 8 loyalty to ultimate or something,
Yeah,
right?
I could
So
even go like I could even fork my. I guess they make this appear, so that's not a good line, but yeah. No, it's 9 loyalty, but I'm pretty. Oh, is it 8? Okay, it's 8. Yeah. You can beat a to ultimate too. It's not too hard, but that's a joke, I guess. But also not a joke. I don't know. I did this pre-attack. I think I got worried about time, so I just decided to attack. Or I don't know. Also, I attacked Tybalt, which is making me lose 3 damage if I'm planning to bounce it. So yeah, this is like kind of loose. I think I wanted to like see if they would exile it so I could respond by impulsing, and then maybe I would just miss my land drop or something. I was thinking stuff like that. So I see island, I take islands, then I pass. I plan to Otawara on their like upkeep. It's also worth noting they didn't bring to light, but I guess 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They wouldn't have enough to make this appear and bring to light, so it makes sense. So I Otawara. They cast up the Beanstalk. They pass. One second. Was it frozen? Okay, I think it's working. Thinking here. Is there any way casting Time Walk's good here? I mean, if I fork Time Walk, they can just sack their Caryatid to make this appear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
wait, Daniel. I really don't want to burn a fork.
Well, I didn't. I was just going through the options. I didn't say I was gonna do that.
To me, it feels good to keep developing. Like, you don't have to trespass here. We can just pieces and then cruise looking for lands.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't saying I was going to time walk here. I was just looking through the options. But the first option's like, okay, do we time walk? I mean, we could consider potentially casting time walk because then they have to sacrifice make this appear to counter it. And then we can like pieces afterwards. But I don't know if that's a good line. Then they could also have double counter spell. I think I just went for like. So like yeah, you could time walk, but then it's awkward if they have 2 counter spells. I think I might have just treasure cruised here to like because it helps me hit land drops. I was just thinking if you should like fork treasure cruise. Like I have a fork in the graveyard, but that's probably bad. Thinking. If I could treasure cruise. If I fork treasure cruise, I would go to 9, 12 cards in hand. So I would end up just discarding a bunch of cards anyway. Do you think I should just lead on treasure cruise here? I'm just thinking. I could lead on pieces.
What's the... I would probably lead on pieces because, like, if you hit cantrips, I'd rather cast those. Like, I don't really want to discard to hand size. So if I hit some, like, sleight of hands or ops or whatever, I'd probably rather cast those than the treasure cruise. That's basically... So because of that, I probably want to...
So if I lead on pieces, they can, like...
Mm-hmm.
It can make this appear worse. Well, I'm thinking. So, like, if I pieces and they, like, Dovin's veto it, then if I go for treasure cruise after, they can, like... make this appear the cruise sacrifice, but maybe that's fine. Thinking.
That's completely fine. That's a non-issue.
I guess we don't want to fork the flashback the fork. Okay, well, yeah, so I think it's like we probably just cast pieces or cruise and then see what they do. I cast pieces. Yeah, this is that what you said. Hit 1 card. Then I think I cast cruise here because I'm like, if they, I'm fine if they counter it. Like I have enough.
Yeah.
And they don't counter it. Then.
I mean, that makes sense for them, I think. Depending on like what their hand is, but.
This was kind of a mistake. I should have played my land because then I could have Prismari'd in response potentially. I guess they could like make
Yeah,
disappear my Prismari, so maybe it was better to not do that.
I mean, you're just like always gonna play the island, so I think you should have just played it. Oh, what? You didn't play?
Why is there this wrong somehow?
I don't know.
This gives me more. Doesn't this give me more mana to like do everything next turn? This gives me enough mana to fork, flashback, fork, time walk.
Is there anything? I guess the Tybalt is
Omnath?
gone.
No, the Tybalt's in their hand,
Yeah,
but if they
no.
cast it, they're tapped out.
You do need to interact with Omnath, right?
Well, you don't need to, but
you
it's
only
just
have to,
something.
like, counter it. No, this is fine. Okay, this is reasonable. Yeah, I agree with this.
I mean, I got to maybe Prismari'd, but they already exiled one Phoenix, so it could be kind of annoying.
I hold the Prismari command in hand as a discard outlet, and also sometimes it dealing 2 damage can be relevant. So
They get Omnath. I think I discarded the Prismari.
I might have discarded the sleight of hand there. I don't know about that though.
Yeah. And at this point, I actually make a mistake this turn.
Oh, because you want to get a Phoenix back, actually. Yeah, so this is fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
we're gonna double fork this turn, right?
Yeah, I think so. So I flashback fork, and then I played a land so that I can play fork from my hand. This was my plan. And they make this appear. I think they were claiming that they're misclicked or it's bugged or something. Since I had to pay, I can't get back Phoenix. I play sleight of hand. Then I think I went to fork, time walk again. Or no, what's going on here? Oh yeah, since
what?
I didn't have enough cards in the graveyard to fork time walk.
Okay.
Should I pause there? Was there anything to say?
No, I'm yeah, I guess this all makes sense.
Kind of, so I think I end up like passing to them. It's weird. Well, I'm forking time walk. What am I doing? Why am I cruising? I'm thinking what was happening here. Why didn't fork time walk? 1 second. How much did I spend? How much did I exile? Okay, I can't see how much I exile. I can see how much mana I spent though. Cast pieces. So I spent 3 mana on cruise. That means I exiled 5 cards. I'm trying to see why I didn't just fork my time walk. 1 second. So I could fork, and then I would have 4 mana left over, and I would have 1, 2, 3. I think I wanted to like triple fork my time walk the turn after, but I don't know if that makes sense.
I see.
Would I have mana up for like a fire? I don't know if I had fire impulse. I think I was scared of them like having a ley line binding for my Phoenix too. I thought I could just fork time walk the turn after, but that might be loose. I'm just thinking. So I pieces, and then I would have 6 mana, and I would have had plus 4 cards. So I would have had 9 cards in the graveyard. So I could fork time walk, but I don't. I guess this is getting kind of muddy. But also they have 20 life. I was kind of worried about not being able to do all the damage if I don't triple fork it. I don't know. This is too confusing, but also like not that relevant.
I'll be honest. I lost track a bit of this, but I
mean, if there was a rewind button, it would be easier. But basically, I had the option to like fork my time walk, but I was scared that it might be better to do it later in case they have like a ley line binding, or like I want to find my hall first, and also so I can triple copy it. But that can be wrong. It can be bad to triple copy it because of make disappear and veto and stuff. Yeah. So maybe I should have done it, but I don't know if there's worse talking about too much this line because it's like not that complicated. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it feels hard to figure out without going like super in depth and potentially.
I mean, this was probably a punt to be honest, because now it's just like returning all these Phoenixes, and like if they have a bunch of Chain to the Rocks, I'm like screwed. I mean, I did have this hall, so I can fork hall and then attack them. But yeah, this was
yeah.
They didn't have a board wipe like Extinction Event.
It feels bad that we didn't get a haul into play, but maybe there was no way for us to do that. I don't know.
Well, if I fork the time walk, then I don't have mana to activate to use the hall anyway. But yeah, this also might have been a mistake because so I triple forked my time walk, but they have make disappear. So and I only have 2 cards in my deck, so I could have only double forked my time walk so that they can't use make disappear.
I see. But then, wait, no. You needed to do this because if you didn't do it, you don't get Phoenix's back, right? Like, you can't actually cast the Sleight of Hand. So, no, you needed to do this.
True. I mean, I could have tried to like Jwari something, but yeah, I guess that was
But
another.
then they just, like, not give you a target, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I did that. I attacked them, and then they're dead. Da, da, da.
Probably important to talk about the sideboarding here.
Yeah. It looks like I did sideboarding kind of random, so it looks like I boarded out. I left in 3 axes, boarded out the Impulse. I boarded in the Prismaris, even though they didn't have that many Bankbuster, but they have Fable. I seem to board out 1 Time Walk since they only had 2 Rest in Peace. Since they had like 4 Dovin's Veto, I thought Fork would get extra value, so that's why I left in the Forks. And I didn't bring in the Negates, which could be wrong, but a lot of times they side out Bring to Light, and I don't know. It was hard to make space for everything. Like I have Prismaris, I have Axes. I'm bringing in Disputes already. So this seemed okay. And I didn't bring in Drake, which could be wrong, but it was like hard to like fit everything. And they only had 2 Rest in Pieces. And Drake didn't even seem that good against them. But like Prismari Command can be decent against Rest in Peace too. I thought I could just like hard cast my Arclights if they Rest in Peace me. I thought it might be like too far-fetched to try and beat it with Drake, especially when they only have 2 and have so many other good cards. I don't know if you have any opinions on that.
I don't have like an image of his exact deck up in front of me, so it's a bit hard for me to visualize. But I don't love not boarding in the negates intuitively, I guess.
What, do you board in all the counter spells against this deck? I boarded in Gust, by the way.
Yeah, Gust seems good. I'm trying to remember what I was cutting when I was playing this matchup. Does he have like a bunch of Rest in Pieces and stuff?
Only 2 Rest in Pieces.
Oh, yeah, so when I was talking about what me and Stefan were doing in the showcase for this matchup, we were going down on Trespass.
Well, I said the reason I didn't do that is because my opponent had 4 Dovin's Vetoes and 3 Make Disappear, so I thought Fork is better against them than normal.
I'm not very convinced by that argument. I don't think Galv is a very good card once you don't have Trespass, and I think
Well,
you
I
should
have
probably
Trespass.
be cutting. I'm saying I don't think you should have Trespass. I think you should have cut both Trespass.
In my experience, Trespass can be pretty good against these Bring to Light decks because I feel like they side in a lot of Bankbusters and up the Beanstalks. And
yes, but that also means they get a lot of looks at their Rest in Peace. Like,
well, they have not that doesn't really, they don't get that many looks with those cards. What those cards mean is that they try and like play this really clunky card advantage game, and it can be hard to try and grind them out without Time Walk. I mean, if my opponent only also like
I think Drake is similar. Like Drake is doing a similar thing. It's presenting a lethal clock. Like,
no,
you can play Drake late in the game with negate backup, and it's like basically Trespass combo. Like you have to answer this.
No, the difference is if they have Bankbuster in play, like if they're playing like Bankbuster, Fable, up the Beanstalk, Drake is bad against those cards, but Time Walk's good against those cards. You can't really try and play a Drake late game. Well, you can't really try and play a Drake late game if they've been playing up the Beanstalk, Fable, and Bankbuster, because they'll just have way too much white removal up, and it's just like not going to work, right? Like, I mean, is it hard? Like, I'm just saying, like, Time Walk is good against like Fable, Bankbuster, Beanstalk, and Drake isn't.
Time Walk. You can say the same thing there, like, oh, your 1 Trespass isn't going to work because they have 4 Dovin's Veto.
No, I don't think so, because what I'm saying is that Drake is not that good against cards like Up the Beanstalk, Bankbuster. It's not really good against slow card advantage engines, because you give them time to use their card advantage engine and then they just have like random white removal. It's
Well, I also think you should have negates as like more answers to the beanstalks, and you already have Prismari command for their bank busters. So
well,
I
negate
think
doesn't stop Beanstalk on the draw.
that's true. That's a true statement.
I would say my experience in this matchup is that siding in too many counterspells is not that effective against them. Especially they usually side out Bring to Light, and they try to beat you by playing like Bankbuster and Up the
Yeah,
Beanstalk.
I know. Yeah, they cut Brent to
Also, if my opponent has 4 Dovin's Veto, then I think Fork gets a lot better against them, because they're going to try and pass with counters up a lot of the time, and then Fork will be one of the useful cards to deal with that situation.
I think you are overrating that. The other argument is that if there's Dovin's vetoes present, it's gonna be like a lower resource game. You can easily just not have a good target for the Galv. So
I don't think it's easy to not have a good target for the Galv when you have like 12. Like, I think Galv is good against blue-white control because they try and 1-for-1 you with counter spells. They try and just pass with counter spells, and Galv is a way to stop that.
I think you are overrating how much they're trying to. Both of these decks, I think you're overrating how much they're passing with counter spells. But I mean, I don't know. It seems like we disagree on a lot. I'm not prepared to like say I'm super confident in anything without like having.
Well, my main statement is, to simplify it, is basically my opponent has like 10 counter spells in their deck, like 4 vetoes, like 3 make disappear, 3 dispute, or whatever. I think that they're going to commonly have counter spells up, and I think that Fork is good against counter spells. Like, I'm not really making that complicated of an argument.
Veto. I don't know. Like, isn't that saying the same thing?
Well, Crackling Drake's bad against. Well, first of all, Crackling Drake's bad against 6 of those counters. It's bad against Make Disappear, and it's bad against Dispute. And also, I think that they have a lot of very slow card advantage engine.
You don't have to play it on turn 4. You can play it later in the game.
Well, do you think Drake is good against Dispute or not? I feel like it's not good against Dispute.
Oh, Drake is bad against Dispute, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the whole statement I'm making. Then I feel like I don't love siding in Drake against these grindy decks, because they have these like really slow engines that you can ignore with Time Walk. But if you play Drake, then they are able to just use their Bankbusters, use their Fables relevantly.
I disagree with the fact that you can ignore them with Time Walk. They're still pressuring, like, you need payoffs to your Trespass combo. You need Phoenixes or Shredders or Hall in play or whatever. And, like, your Hall can get blocked because they have a lot of stuff that blocks it. So really, you mostly need Flyers, but then all the same white removal that is hitting your Drakes is hitting those creatures anyway. Like, white removal is always going to be good against you. So I'd rather have, like, Trespass needs something else for it to be good. You can't just go Galv Trespass and have it be good.
Well, it's very different.
Is more standalone. It's less soft to rest in peace.
It's very different, because if you play Drake, they get an untap, whereas if you fork Time Walk, they don't get an untap. Also, if you fork Time Walk...
Wait, what do you mean they don't get to untap? That's like a dream scenario that you're killing them and they don't have rest... Like, first of all, the games where they don't put rest in peace into play are already a favorable outcome for us, right? Like, if you knew for a fact that your opponent doesn't have rest in peace in play, like, you're pretty happy about that. Meanwhile, if they do and you're drawing your Trespass, it's kind of disastrous to be just going down a card. Well, not disastrous, but it's also bad because you're not going to be able to loop your Phoenixes. Like, it's really bad for you if they have Rest in Peace already. So that's another big part of the thing, is like Rest in Peace is already insanely good against those. So I'd rather respect it as much as possible by cutting the kind of mediocre card, which is Trespass. And then at that point, I think you're just wrong. I don't know if it's like useful.
I don't think it's a dream scenario. If you fork Time Walk, a lot of times they're going to be dead. But the second thing I would say is the more you sideboard, the weaker you become to their fair game. So the more of a fair game you try and play, like for example, Bankbuster, I would say in a vacuum is not good against. Okay, but if you don't have Graveyard Hate, Bankbuster is bad against Phoenix. I would say, like, because it's just too slow.
I agree.
And I think Up the Beanstalk also is a card that if you don't have interaction, it's too slow against Phoenix. And Fable, I would also say, is another card. All those cards are like bad against Phoenix. They only become threatening if you can interact with Phoenix. And I think that if you side in too many cards like Drake, then you make those cards stronger because you're letting them. You're siding out the cards that make those cards weak against you, and now you're making those cards all of a sudden they're not weak against you because you're too fair. I mean, I usually board up.
Disagree. I don't think Drake doesn't have to be a fair card. You can wait till late in the game and play Drake with like Negata. Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna convince me. It seems unlikely that I'm gonna convince you. We can just move on. I think we probably.
I would
both
just
outlined
add.
some of our position.
A couple of things I would just say is that part of the awkward thing is if you like try and side in a bunch of counter spells and Drakes and side out your Time Walks, there's a lot of cards like Up the Beanstalk and Bankbuster, and you'll be in situations where they have those cards in play and you have counters and you have Drake and it's bad for you.
I don't think Bankbuster is a real concern when you have 3 Prismari command.
I mean, kind of true. Anyway, we can watch how this goes. I would say usually against these like Yorion decks, like Incarnation, I hedge for Rest in Peace a lot because of what you were saying that if they don't have Rest in Peace, you're favored. But some of these Bring to Light decks were very playing a lot of like 4 Bankbusters sometimes and stuff. Okay, this hand I guess you could talk about because it could have been a mulligan. It's kind of a loose hand.
Oh yeah, you posted about this. Yeah, I think this is probably a mulligan. Yes.
Yeah, when I saw this hand, I really did. I didn't know what to think. I was like, okay, the first thing I could think is it's weak to Beanstalk, it's weak to Bankbuster, I guess, kind of. It's weak to Fable, like it's weak to Fable, Beanstalk, Bankbuster. But the other side of the coin, I was thinking, I'm like, well, I have my land drops and I have some spells, and my hand's kind of grindy. I guess grindy in the sense is if they don't just snowball me. I was like, oh, I don't know what I want to mulligan to. I'm like, oh, I kind of need my land drops, and this hand can beat counter spells. But maybe I should have just mulligan maybe. I did think it's kind of hard. Like, I don't know. I don't know if you think this is a snap mulligan.
Yeah, I think it's just like basically a snap. I agree. Like, it sucks. It sucks, but I think it's kind of because you're just in a rough spot. Like, I mean, this is kind of, I don't know if you would agree with this, but this is like a scary matchup to play compared to like red-black, which is, I don't love this matchup. I'm kind of scared to play it.
I thought that the consensus knowledge was that red-black was a bad matchup and that this is a good matchup, but I don't know.
So you disagree? Are you like okay? Are you happy when you got paired into BTL?
I mean, I think people think it's a good matchup. I'm not really sure what I think. I find this matchup weird. I think it's supposed to be good.
I mean,
I think we're supposed to be favored.
I think we're supposed to be favored as well, but it's like it's kind of easy for things to go wrong. You have to play these long, grindy games, and like because of the way their deck is configured, there's so many kind of annoying angles that you have to respect where you're also sideboarding weird. So I just find it an annoying matchup to play. So all that is to say, like, I think you're in a bad spot, and like it sucks to mulligan, but I think you probably have to.
If you're against like blue-white control and pretend these aren't islands, like obviously if it's islands, then you'd mulligan. But if it's like Spire Bluff, would you keep or mull this hand against blue-white control?
The same hand against blue-white? Yeah, I would keep because like they don't have Fable, they don't have Bankbuster, they don't have Beanstalk. This has too much proactive they can do that's gonna get under a mystical dispute. Yeah. It's really problematic.
So I guess it can be kind of tricky.
Blue-white, you can play a slower game, and your disputes are guaranteed to be good.
What about if you're playing against blue-black control?
I don't know what the blue-black lists look like, but probably I would keep there as well.
Like when Nassif plays, okay.
I mean, like, he just has, like, Narset and stuff, right? Like, and I think those lists can't really do anything proactive through our dispute, which is what the concern is. Why didn't we opt? Were you going to galv the opt?
Yeah, I think so. I didn't really feel like I was in a rush.
Okay.
Well, this game is going to be painful.
Well, wait, I disagree with that because I would have liked to play a Ledger Shredder this turn.
Then they can Omnath us, but maybe that's fine.
Yeah, then they Omnath.
I don't know. I mean, I thought it was okay to hold. Okay, so here I think
It's like now this happens, right? And like this was always a very scary outcome, right? So
yeah, I probably punted this game a lot. So I see axe, I take it. But this is
like
so,
again, like every this is like the scariest thing they can do, I think. So like because of that, I would have opted on the last turn to try and somehow.
I guess I
respect
should have
this
like
more.
lightning axed and discard either dispute or a land. Or I think I did nothing, but I think that was a punt. Like this game gets out of control.
Nothing. I think you have to cast one of your spells. I'm just not sure if it's considered a lightning axe, but I would definitely cast one of my spells.
Yeah, I mean, why? The reason I cast nothing is I saw it this way. I could discard an Arclight Phoenix to my axe, but I think it was wrong. I was just being, oh, why am I so scared of Fable? Like, I can just let them have a treasure and kill it later. I was also like, oh, I have Prismari Command. I don't want to use axe. So yeah, but I think looking back, I probably should have just axed and discarded either dispute or a land. Cringe. The cringe continues. Like I said, this was a cringe match. Like, it's really painful to go back and look.
Yeah, well, yeah, I lost to Lucas in a
similar game.
Maybe that's why I'm frustrated by this matchup. Because like maybe this deck is a bit different, but Lucas's deck is similar, and like if I beat Lucas, I was like very close to the Mox, but then I lost to Lucas, so I didn't make it, which was annoying. But I thought the matchup was good, but it's kind of easy to lose. Basically, is all I'm saying. Like, yeah.
And the cringe continues as I. Oh, do I go for it now? I fork.
You just like looking for Phoenix or something?
Yeah, and then I was like, oh, I'll just pass with dispute up again. Cringe. To be fair, I don't.
They have like made so much mana that dispute isn't even doing anything. Yeah, that's not great. Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they use the treasures pretty well because they also have like. They also just have Yorion, right? That's the other thing. Is like even if they drew nothing, they would have Yorion you. So I think, yeah. I mean, this game.
I just put on fast forward because I don't want to talk about what's going on here.
Like I don't think you can even. We can just go next.
I think I remember this game was almost close. I guess no, it wasn't. Okay, we'll go next. Yeah, game 3. This one's cringe because it was more winnable than the last one. Let's see the opening hands. Notice the clocks are low. I felt favored because I had more clock. I think this hand seems okay to keep. Do I keep it? My god, I mulliganed it. I mulliganed it.
Like it sucks, but I would keep. I want to keep that, I think.
I think looking back, why I mulliganed this was because I thought... I mean, well, I had low clock, like the clocks were close, and I was like, oh, I just want to play a game of Magic because I was like, I can just time him out. I'd like, he can't kill me in time if I just gotta play a game. But I probably should have skipped this.
True. They can just like Omnath you, you're gonna die pretty
Omnath
fast.
is pretty bad against Phoenix. I feel like that was one of the mistakes I made in this match is I got too scared of Omnath because it's actually like not that good. Like they are only fetch lands Fabled Passage. Like if they have Omnath in play, it's not really snowballing that much outside of life totals.
This hand just seems good to me. I don't understand. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I miss a land draw. I don't know. I probably should have kept it, I guess.
You're likely to hit, but also you have the Mystical Dispute, you have the Lightning Axe, so you don't like get completely run over by Fable, and then like again, like you're very likely to hit.
Yeah.
You're pretty likely to hit your land,
yeah,
and you also have like cantrips, and just like I think Ledger Shredder on turn 2 is very good because either they have to spend mana removing it, or you start conniving, generating value. So I mean, I think mulliganing this seems
I do think
stick to me.
This 6 is better.
Wait, is that true?
I still have turn 2 Shredder and double pieces, and I have a sleight of hand to look for its land.
Okay, no, you're right. Yeah.
But
are we gonna? Yes. Okay, makes sense. Yes, this hand is probably better just because it has double pieces, but like, we don't. What, Daniel? You just keep holding cantrips. That's insane. There's so many spots where you're just holding. I think it's important to. I know there was like a Twitter exchange we had about that at 1.2, right? Where you were like, we talked about holding versus not holding cantrips. I don't know if you remember that, but I would like 100% play sleight of hand here.
Well, the only reason I did this is I was thinking that if they pass with mana up, because they had like Dovin's Veto make disappear, then I can just play Ledger Shredder and Sleight of Hand. And I was like, I didn't really feel that rush to play Sleight of Hand, but I don't know. I thought it was close. Obviously, like, look at the clocks here, by the way. It's not like I had
Well,
Eons
Daniel,
to tank.
yeah. So there's a few things. First, you can sleight of hand into more cantrips, but also sleight of handing into lands is good because like I want to have fourth land for when I play pieces on turn 4 as well, right? Like right now you don't have that locked up, so yeah, I don't
mean,
like this.
my thought process was pretty simple. I just thought if they pass with mana up, I'll play Ledger Shredder, and then I want to have a 1-mana spell to connive. I was trying to conserve clock because if you notice the clock situation. But yeah, I could see it being better to play it, but I don't know. Anyway, they tap out. I think I play pieces here, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so I see all these cards. I decided to take Gust and Consider. I don't think that's that controversial. We can keep going. This is going to be so they play Fable. And this is tricky. I have a... Oh, fuck. Okay, I have a lot of options here. I think I was supposed to probably play pieces and then Lightning Axe this Goblin. Looking back.
Really?
Okay, so what are the other options?
I thought there were a couple of options, but that's probably not a line I would have taken.
What were you thinking of? Like cast Consider and then like okay, what do you cast, Ledger or not? I guess that's the first thing. I feel like I probably
that's what I thought was the decision. I thought it's like, okay, do you cast Ledger Shredder or do you just like cast cantrips and then kill their thing and then pass with Ether Gust up for like a second Fable or an Omnath or something? That's what I was thinking. I wasn't even really seriously considering pieces as an option, to be honest.
This is why I think I overfeared Omnath, because I feel like if they play Omnath, it's actually like not really good for a few reasons. Like number one, they don't even have that many fetch lands in their deck. It's just Fabled Passage. And I'm like, if I cast pieces, then I could like Treasure Cruise. I could like find another axe. I have the Gust, so I could even like let them untap with Omnath. And if they play Fabled Passage, I could Gust it in response to them fetching.
Right. So I think if Omnath starts making mana, it's really problematic. But here, like you have the axe potentially. So I think part of the appeal of playing Ledger Shredder is that you can save the axe for an Omnath, right? So you can just do this, then Sleight of Hand, Shock, Pass, and if they chain to the rocks you, then Lightning Axe their thing. And if they do have the Leyline Binding or whatever to do it after attacks, you just let them have it. But they can't really chain to the rocks you, and you sometimes get to save the axe, and you start presenting a threat. But yeah, I wouldn't have pieces here.
What's awkward?
This is probably what I would.
I let them lay the main reason to pieces is it means that they're not able to counter it, and they have a lot of like Dovin's Vetoes. But the other thing I would say is that playing Shredder, I let them Leyline Binding my Shredder, which can turn on their Beanstalk potentially. Also, I don't have
that's true.
Playing Shredder now, I don't really have any bad cards in my hand. Obviously, Shredder is always good to get in play, but if I draw Phoenix later, it could be convenient to hold my Shredder for later. And Shredder is also cheaper, so in a later turn, I could play Shredder and have count and pass with mana up. Looking at the spot, I don't know. I think I would play pieces just because it like sets me up. Like if they play Omnath, I don't really care. If they play
wait. Also, you have Trespass in your deck, and I'm not used to that in this matchup. So like if you have the Trespass in your deck, then it's valuable to be digging towards that.
It's also just
it could be pieces. Interesting spot. I
think I handle it kind of badly. I think I choose to Gust the Goblin Shaman, which is kind of sus. I was thinking, oh, if they play Omnath, then I can Lightning Axe the Omnath next turn. But it's going to go kind of poorly. I discard Sleight of Hand, which seems like fine. They play Leyline Binding. Look at this Mega Punish.
Sorry, what was our fourth land? Was our fourth land tapped? Did I misunderstand that?
No, it was untapped.
What was our fourth land?
It was untapped.
Then how did you use all of your mana? What did you do with your mana?
What do you mean? I played Ledger Shredder, Aether Gust.
Aether Gust is 2 mana. Okay, sure.
Get a grip, lad. Okay, so also you can see the punish. They had Leyline Binding, and it's pretty punishing that I'm letting them cantrip with it. Anyway, here I decide... This is kind of... I had a Galvanic in my graveyard, so the reason I passed is I thought if they do nothing, I could fork my Consider. I could have forked main phase to try and look for a land, which I probably should have done, I guess. But
Consider main phase would have been my line. That's what I would have done.
yeah,
I don't really like. I think it's pretty valuable to save the Skelvianic for the trespass. So I don't want to. I
yeah,
don't want to use it on a really
I
consider.
messed up. I mean, I remember what I was thinking. I was playing really quick. Obviously, I guess that goes without saying. I was thinking like, oh, if I want to use my galvanic now, so that if they like rest in peace me, I have it out of the way. I was thinking that, but it was loose because I can just Prismari the Fable on end step if they do nothing. So I should have just considered main phase. Yeah, for sure. They play Growth Spiral. I allow it. They play another Fable. I should have probably negated this. But,
What? Why did we not negate this?
Wait, chill.
Okay, no, it's fine. Like if you're punting under time pressure, it's whatever. But I think
thought,
you have to
well,
negate
for
that.
some reason, I thought I had 2 Time Walks in my deck. I guess I only had 1. And I was thinking, for some reason, I was thinking, I want to negate Rest in Peace. I want to negate Rest in Peace. They didn't discard anything to the loot, I think, of the previous one. Well, I guess that's, never mind. Okay, I should have probably negated that, but I was just thinking, it's if they bring to light, if they Rest in Peace, I can ignore this Fable. I have 20 life. I was like, I have 20 life. I'm like, I wanna play something else. But it's probably, I think it's kind of close on the negate, to be honest. Because I can but I was just thinking, I'm like, oh, I'm at 20 life, blah, blah, blah. I don't know.
But there's a couple of things there. They start making treasures, which again, they're a pretty good treasures deck, right? They're pretty mana hungry. With the companion and whatnot, they're gonna use.
Yeah, and
I
just Prismari'd the goblin and made a treasure instead of the.
Yeah, but I also, because now I didn't really want to use the Prismari there. We could have saved it for something down the line, and have it being better, maybe, because we didn't.
Well, I
discard
have
any
3
Phoenixes here or
Prismaris in my
whatever.
deck, so I'm pretty likely to find more of them. I'm not that worried about Bankbuster. But
Yeah,
I can just keep going.
It's fine. It is what it is.
I can keep going. Okay, I don't know why. See, this is loose. I didn't consider again because I was thinking about my fork in the graveyard. I'm like, I want to fork my consider, but that was just loose. And then I don't know. I think I draw pieces. I'm like, oh, I'll just pass. Playing fast.
What? What? Okay, well, that's
yeah.
insane.
I should have let them veto.
Yeah.
I should have let them veto. That was loose. I'm saying it was loose. Now they play another Fable, so I negate this one. They attack me. I think I consider. Please tell me I consider. Okay, I consider. I whatever. I'm playing fast.
I probably would have kept that first land, I think.
I decided to play pieces without forking it. I don't know why. It'll resolve somehow.
That's good. That's good. We want to fork the trespass. That's yeah.
Now I pass.
I mean, this game is it is what it is. I don't know. It's fine. They probably have some removal or something.
Yeah, so
Wait, why would they also not pick up Yorion? What do they have?
Well, they're
Why
trying
would
to fork. They're trying to fork their guy for lethal.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I play Cruise. And then I could Lightning Axe the Reflection and then get back my Phoenix.
Uh-huh.
Let me see how much life I had. Would that have made me survive? Because I end up just dying here, which is cringe. I was thinking, okay, because to a counter spell, but I didn't realize I was dead. So they have.
They have the exact dead. If they have counter spell plus thing, they're exactly dead. Wow.
So let's say.
Yeah. So then I guess it's correct for you to axe. Yeah.
So let me see if I axe. So they would copy the reflection in response. Then they go to end of turn, and they make 2, 4, 6, 8, 12, 14. 16.
Well, no, wait. In the worlds where they have a counterspell, which are the relevant world, if they don't have a counterspell, then nothing matters because when they go to copy end step, will kill thing, and then they are not going to get anything. So that's fine. We're talking about the worlds where they do have counterspell. In the worlds where they do have counterspell, they're going to counter your lightning axe, right?
Well, no. If I lightning axe first, they don't care about they don't need to counter it because they can just copy in response.
Oh.
If I lightning axe
but
to get my
want to save it. They might still want to save it.
Yeah, but if they save it, then they can't make more copies, so they have less damage.
Yes, but they're not going to have lethal anyways with you having 2 blockers. So like if they're
Unless
not
they
going to
have
have
removal.
lethal anyways.
Well, if they don't have lethal, the main thing is to
No, they're
prevent
still not
lethal.
going to have.
I have fork time
What?
walk, right? If I don't die this turn, I gotta just fork time walk next turn. So all I have to do is prevent lethal.
Yes.
So
I
if
agree.
I don't really care about if they protect their reflection. Like what I'm saying is, if I axe their reflection main phase, they're not gonna counter it because they need to kill me this turn. It's all about killing me this turn.
It's just more damage not to. Okay, that's fair. But like that's not necessarily true from their perspective,
Well, that's
right?
not what
I mean, do
I'm.
they know about the trespass? Is the trespass revealed or what?
That's what I think we're jumping. I was just trying to decide between lightning axing or passing, but I didn't realize I was dead. So since I didn't realize I was dead, I was like, I'll just pass and make them counter axe. But then I was actually dead, so I didn't
see.
count it. But now I'm trying to count it. So if I axe main phase, what would happen? So they can in response copy it. Then end of turn, they'll have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So they would need one second, let me just count again. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12.
They have 14 power in play, Daniel. They need 2
Yeah.
removal spells.
So they would need 2 removal spells. But yeah, I just die to a single counter spell. Which, yeah. So then this is how I die. It's pretty cringe. As you can see, like
Yeah.
I punt like every turn and I still almost win, and then I just like die to exactly lethal. So that's why this game was cringe, obviously. But yeah, whatever. That's why it's good to practice.
Yep.
I mean, this is a weird matchup to play because a lot of the turns are kind of tricky. Like passing was the counters, having the counters, blah 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 blah. Random.
Yeah, that's like kind of what I mean. It's like an annoying matchup to play because they have like all these meaningful threats, but they also have counters, and like some of their stuff gets mystical disputed, some doesn't. It's just an annoying matchup. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's anything we should say at the end. That was basically the RCQ. Obviously, I was mega tilting. Not really. Did you see me? Was I in the Discord tilting? I don't remember. I think I just said I probably punted. I said I played bad. Then I said I was tired.
No, I don't.
I mean, to be fair, this was like round
one
9,
thing-
so I got kind of tired. And also, like, this matchup's kind of hard to play. Like, obviously I was playing loose, but it just reminded me that it's good to keep your endurance up. Like, I felt, like, really tired playing this match. Like, as you saw, I wasn't, like, thinking that much through my decisions, and I was just kind of tired. And
What I will say is that over this event, I noticed a bunch of spots where you were being punished for not having untapped lands because of Dwari. So, like, I don't know, maybe you don't even pay attention to that because you're just used to it. But compared to like how my deck functions, where I have more lands and less Dwaris, it felt like there were a lot of spots where you had to sequence less efficiently, or you couldn't do something that you would have wanted to. So just pointing that out.
well, I felt Joy was good in a lot of spots in this. Like, I thought it single-handedly won, like, several games. And, like, the spots it was quote-unquote awkward as a tap land, or I had to sequence around it, were, like, just privileges of the Jwari. Like, for example, when I played against you in the mirror, if I didn't have Jwari, I couldn't even have an option. Like, that hand would be, like, if it was just all lands, I would have to mulligan the hand. The fact that I had Jwaris, I was able to keep it and threaten to counter pieces. I mean, I could see Jwari not being worth it, but I feel like if you watch through this replay, it, like, single-handedly won, like, several games. Like, against the Sack deck, I would have died if I didn't have Jwari. I feel, well, what I'm trying to say is I feel like the quote-unquote, what looks like awkward sequencing is really the privilege of deciding if you want to play Jwari or not. Yeah, and you have, in the early game.
So where my head is at regarding Dwari is that like I think it's very reasonable to play more than 0, but I think there's like next to no chance that 3 is correct. I think you're almost definitely wrong to be playing 3.
I don't. Well, first of all, I think that I like having 3 flip lands. But second, I play 3 Jwari because I like basically always want it in my opening hand. I don't know. I feel like Jwari is like good in your opening hand. I basically always want it. It's really good against Fable of the Mirror Breaker. It's just
That's the other thing is like there's some playstyle differences between you and me probably. Like there were a lot of spots where I would have played cantrips and you were holding them. So maybe because of that you're more okay with the tap lands. Like I'm trying to filter through my deck more aggressively and just chain through stuff. But
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
think that Jwari, like, the thing I like about it is it's pretty good at buying time. Like, if you play turn 2 Jwari, you can really slow down your opponent, and I like being able to have 3 Jwaris so I can consistently cast it on turn 2, because there's a lot of, like you could randomly play against, like, that blue-red artifact deck, and you're on the play, and you just counter their 2-drop, and it's, like, insane. Like, I think just being able to turn 2 Jwari is, like, really strong. That's why I like it. That's my perception of it. But also, the spell lands thing, I feel like that it comes up a lot for me, that I want I cast pieces. Like, I value that it makes my pieces hits higher. I really like having my pieces hits be extremely high, and I just feel like 3 is a good number so that my pieces can hit more often. Yeah, I feel like I like that my pieces hits are extremely high. I don't know if you don't like. For example, one thing I'll say is it makes you able to side in creatures more effectively. So, for example, let's say you play 0 spell lands.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's like an underrated benefit of the card. You know, like it's something you probably don't really notice because most of the time your pieces just work. But then, like when they whiff because you don't have Jwari in your deck, you know, it becomes.
Well, I think it's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I was just gonna say, okay, you know when you're like, so when you play Phoenix and you side in Crackling Drakes or whatever, Young Pyromancer, you're like, oh, this feels bad because now I'm making my pieces worse. Like, you know what I mean? But if you play these Jwaris, it's like you're already playing like 3 more spells, and you're basically like, okay, if my list has 3 Jwaris and another list has 0, it's basically like the other person has 3 Crackling Drakes main and I have 0 Crackling Drakes main. They're just playing 3 more misses and I have 3 more hits. So I'm just allowed to be more flexible with how I'm sideboarding, if you see what I mean. It means that when I side in Crackling Drakes, I just miss more. I mean, I miss less. That's basically what I'm saying. I'm saying, like what you're saying, I value very highly hitting more with pieces. And not just hitting more, but sometimes you're looking for land drops. And then like pieces, it makes it easier to find land drops. Anyway, that's the 2 basic reasons to sum it up why I like Jwari. Number 1, I think it can be good to slow your opponent down. Like, you just cast Jwari on turn 2, it buys you time. And number 2, I value having my pieces hit more. And compared to Spikefield Hazard, I feel Spikefield Hazard's not a consistent spell. Jwari is actually a good spell to cast much more often. And I
disagree with that. I think there's a lot of benefits to Spikefield. Like, it represents up to 3 damage in the late game, which is very useful in how you're able to play. But also, it's a spell for getting back your Phoenixes, unlike Jwari, which again comes up a bunch. So I think Spikefield is.
I think Jwari is just a spell that if you have an opening hand, Jwari is like a real spell. Like, you can cast it and it interacts with a real spell. It's pretty uncommon, I think, for Spikefield to be able to act as a real spell. I also think that's Jwari's.
Yes.
So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I guess we should. Or do you want to say anything? Do you think?
No, nothing else. I don't know. Phoenix is good. Seems like it's probably going to be good after the new set as well, but we'll see.
Yeah, I hope so. Okay. I guess I'll end the recording here.